Over the last couple of weeks, I've been using my voice a lot more than I have for a while. And by voice, I mean my excessive vocal range. James, what do you mean by excessive vocal range? Ah, well, as I've shown in a few videos before, I can do things with my voice. Not impersonate people, but I can imitate accents, I can characterise my voice. And for the last couple of weeks I've been audio recording. I've audio recorded Redbird, a section from Dark Legend, and I started today on Hear Me Roar, before I realised I had the wrong microphone on half an hour into the recording. So I've got to start that again tomorrow. Great. But I can do all these accents, I can do a few impersonations, not a lot, but I can change my voice. But James, how do you do this? How do you change your voice? How do you sound completely different? The first thing to do when you want to kind of do this for yourself is to look at the great impersonators, look at how the great pretenders, there we go. You look at how they've done it in the past and you say, okay, let's take that from them and let's try their techniques. So the three I usually go with: Mel Blanc, who was regarded as the man of 1,000 voices, who did Bugs Bunny, Daffy, Tweety Pie. Peter Sellers, in particular his work on The Goon Show. And a more recent example, one who I knew from my teenage years, from like television comedy shows like Dead Ringers, is John Culshaw. I've looked at all of them and worked out for myself how to do it. What you have to do in creating a voice, if you want to do an impersonation, so you study the person you're impersonating. So for instance, if you want to do, let's take a modern example, Donald Trump. You look at the way Donald Trump speaks, the way he acts, the way he behaves, his mannerisms. So, in the end, you get kind of like this. Screwed eyes, folks, screwed eyes, and wefty hands. And for some reason, shrinking off the camera. I'm not shrinking, folks. It's fake news, everybody. Fake news, fake news. I'm not that good at Donald Trump, okay? But you can see what I mean by that. I'm taking aspects of his voice, his speeches, his weird handy thing. What is that anyway? Is he kind of part T-Rex? I am not part T-Rex. No, it's fake news, folks. Fake news, fake news, fake news, everybody. Fake news. I'm shrinking again. I'm shrinking. Oh God, oh God. Yeah. And you can see there how I'm using my body as well. I'm using the hands, I'm screwing my face up, I'm using everything I have to impersonate Donald Trump. The face thing, it's something I learned from watching a documentary on The Goon Show. To get his different characters, Peter Sellers would change his face and change the way he acted. It was only radio, but it worked, and good luck telling which characters are Peter Sellers and which characters are Spike Milligan if you don't know which they are on your first listen to The Goon Show, which, you know, it's a bit dated these days, but I would recommend it because there are some rather hilarious bits of comedy gold in there. So let's go through a few examples. So we have my Richard III, I do this recurring joke where Richard III every once in a while turns up like this.
Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by the son of you. This has nothing to do with Shakespeare. We have been betrayed. Quick, to the tower.
So there you can see what I did. I'm hunched up, limping, and then from there I come up with the voice. The voice comes naturally based on this sort of pose, stance. And it's kind of a middle of the throat sort of voice, a sort of raspy,
Sort of monstrous voice. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this. This is not a cutaway. We have been betrayed. Quick, to the tower.
This is a voice I'm going to retire, but Winston Churchill. Famous individual. It's probably one of the easiest impersonations to do, and that is entirely in the face. You just pout, and then adopt the mannerisms, and then it just becomes so easy. In fact, I have seen that this was not even Winston Churchill, but the man who recorded his speeches for the BBC. Kind of losing that one because I've not used it for so long, but I'm going to retire that voice because Winston Churchill, ooh. And then we have one of my more recent voices. We have Pennywise, which is wide eyes, big smile.
Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat. Would you like your boat back? You're not getting it back, Georgie.
Face, eyes, mouth, big smile, Pennywise. The other thing to do is use the whole body to adopt the mannerisms of the character. We saw this with Trump and his T-Rex hands. So take something recent that I did, Prisoners of Our Own Device. I came up with an alternate version of myself, which was JPC 450, who was much posher than I was, who was allegedly a professor. Should I get the shirt for this? The shirt helped a big deal with this one because it made him more flamboyant. It helped with the characterization, if you will. So this is a drawn-on shirt from a white t-shirt social I went to last year, and I just thought it was like properly hilarious that this posh professor was wearing this kind of scribbled on shirt, but it really helped with the characterization. There's a point in Prisoners where he looks a bit wandering around, like I think it's the bit where he's kind of looking for the equipment, and I kind of got a sort of, oh god, I'm doing it now, it's the shirt, kind of got a bit of a flamboyant Jack Sparrow air to him.
Today is the day you nearly caught Captain Jack Sparrow.
That's not Jack Sparrow, James.
That's more General Pirates, that is.
Yeah, this really helped with the character, and now I just upped my voice to a really posh, sort of almost cocky, arrogant swagger. Good evening, dear boy. Nice to see you again. 450, as you may well know. I believe 1025 is yes, he's doing sort of different voices today, isn't he? Yes, I quite approve of this. Quite enjoyed his film as well. There's this rather handsome chap in there by the name of 450 JPC, James, Professor Churchill. I notice I've also put my hands on my hips while I'm doing this. That's another part of the character. I don't normally stand like this. So, kind of helps if you act the character. Take the shirt off, Jem. Goodbye, dear boy. See you again soon, hey what? Eventually it becomes muscle memory. You can just switch between voices, which is like really useful for audio recording, but it takes practice. Mel Blanc he was so well versed at the voices he did that he could just switch between them without any effort. And there is a story of, which I heard the other day, of when he was recording a cartoon of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and he was able to have an argument between the two of them and have them impersonating each other's voices, which is incredible. I think the fact that it becomes muscle memory is possibly one of the reasons why, when I had that massive brain implosion a few months ago, that massive implosion caused by the panic attack in the middle of the night, that when my regular voice disappeared, it was muscle memory that enables me to use whatever I could. And the one voice I've probably used the most, possibly because he's appeared in audio recordings and will be appearing in Sidetracked and has appeared in Celluloid, it's Will's voice. And I think it's because it's so close to my own that I was able to switch into this voice so easily for, it was like nearly a month, I think, that my voice was switched, and it took a while to get back to sounding regular. So in the books, Will is supposed to be estuary Bristolian, but when it came to finding his voice, I couldn't quite get that. I couldn't quite manage to do the estuary slipping into Bristolian voice. So I just tried as best I could to get estuary English, which is how I ended up with this, which is slightly Cockney, slightly Australian. It rests in the same place in my mouth as my normal voice, which it means I can just switch back and forth quite easily, and it's like, I can have a conversation with you, right? Yeah, right, it's like we can have this sort of conversation with each other and just switch. And James, your voices, they are fantastic. Oh, thanks, mate, that's really nice to hear. Yeah, I didn't mean it. Easy. Muscle memory. Just being able to switch. And it helps that they're so close. And I'm finally starting to do it with Connor as well. So this is a bit more difficult because I'm a bit less practiced. And Connor, he's a lot deeper than when I first came up with the voice about 10 years ago. But, he's not going to be, I don't think, as prominent as me and Will. But, hey, he'll be reading out emails and stuff when it comes to Sidetracked. Hopefully you've been paying attention and watching my face and my body language as I change my voice. I've been changing my face, my body, my posture, and it all helps. It all comes together to create these these characters, these voices. With impersonations, you've got to study the person you're impersonating. So their mannerisms, their body language, their face, the way they hold their mouth when they talk. And then you've got to sort of find their voice. And that takes a bit of practice. And I'm not quite good at impersonations. I mean, my Donald Trump is awful, awful, awful. Sounds nothing like me, nothing like me. Fake news, everybody. Fake news, fake news. I'm shrinking again. Oh God, oh God. Why would I do Donald Trump? Does he shrink? But I can't do that many impersonations. My Tweety's a good one. I did this like a couple of weeks ago, but go on, let's do it again. I thought a pretty tat tweeping up on me. I told a pretty tat as plain as he could be. He's over there, the pretty cat. Look at the little pretty cat. Bye bye, pretty cat. There's no pretty cat there. I lied. And there's Pennywise, which is kind of a new one as well.
Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat. I want your boat, Georgie. Give me your boat, Georgie.
And then on top of that, there's what makes up the majority of my vocal range, which is mainly moving my voice around. Moving it around my mouth, my throat, and moving my face around as well. And changing sort of the pitch of your voice as well. That's like something you can do to kind of help. So for instance, I mentioned Redbird earlier. I've been mentioning it a lot lately, but that contains a lot of really posh characters. So you've got like a bunch of old folk at the Adelphi Hotel. There's Dr. McGann, there's Lime, and there's Gwyn.
So the old folk, they speak in the, sorry, jolly ho, dear boy, I can't remember what I was saying. They talk in this sort of gruff, posh voice. Can't even remember what I was saying, dear boy.
And then after that you have Dr. McGann, who is sort of very deep, very posh, kind of very close to 450, but very serious. I take things very logically, and I don't believe in these live birds. Dear boy. Dear boy. Add the word dear boy to every posh accent, it works. Lime is just sort of very close to 450 himself. It's just my own voice, but poshed up, sort of, and without the shirt. I think it's partially where 450 came from as well, but, you know, I think the shirt helped a lot in the cocky swagger, which Lime doesn't have. Because, you know, in the great tradition of literary protagonists, Lime does not have a personality. And then the highest posh voice is Gwyn. And he's sort of very high, very high-pitched, sort of, hello chap, how are you doing? Josh chapter 12 is going to make you feel awful, awful dear chap, awful. Anyway, this has been a brief guide on how to expand your vocal range, how to do different voices, how to be someone else. Isn't that right, 450? Yes, quite right, dear boy, quite right. And you know what, I quite enjoyed this. Really? That does surprise me. Yes. You know what, I think we should ask people to like and subscribe. Yes? Don't really like doing that, mate. Mind if I do it for you, dear boy? Well, if you like this video, don't forget to, you know, click that like button and maybe subscribe. Because every so often, you know, we do these silly videos with silly voices. And perhaps on Sunday, my good friend 1025 here, perhaps he'll show you one of his audio recordings. He's got to redo the first chapter of Hear Me Roar, because, you know, he's an idiot, and he had the wrong mic on today. So, look forward to that, dear boy. Chin chin. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stop telling people to like and subscribe. I realised there's one voice I didn't do, which you've been waiting for it. Oh, good lord.
Fuck! Ours! Girls! I love my brick!
Right, that's all you're getting.